It was just a normal morning during the holiday, with the sun shining bright, hinting at a fun day ahead. I was trying to get my son Aaron ready for his baseball game when everything changed suddenly. As I opened the door, I was stunned to see my husband Mark standing there. The same husband who had disappeared without a trace 3 years ago. "This is our home," he stated firmly, but with a hint of uncertainty in his voice. Before I could fully comprehend his return, another person appeared behind him. Clara, my sister-in-law. Seeing her made my stomach twist with unease. "We're here to take custody of Aaron," Clara declared, her words dripping with false kindness. I had often wondered about this exact situation, remembering how Mark and Clara had vanished around the same time. It seemed too coincidental to be true. But with the chaos of daily life and limited resources, I hadn't been able to investigate further. Lost in these thoughts, I barely noticed Aaron's voice behind me. "Mom, who are you talking to?" My heart sank. There he stood, my brave son, unaware of the storm brewing. Clara turned her predatory smile toward him. "It's nice to meet you, Aaron. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time." Her words churned my stomach. It was the same voice that had charmed everyone, hiding the manipulative and cruel nature I knew too well, the voice I had hoped to never hear again. Confused, Aaron looked at me and then back at them. "Dad, why are you here? And who is she?" He edged closer to me, sensing the tension instinctively. Mark and Clara stood there, looking stunned and caught off guard, clearly not prepared for this confrontation. Before they could gather themselves, Aaron spoke up, his voice filled with anger. "We're leaving, so move." It was then that Mark and Clara noticed something behind me, and their faces turned pale. I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Standing there was my daughter Elise, cradled in Aaron's arms. Mark's eyes widened in shock, darting between Elise and me. "Mark, Clara," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "3 years ago, you disappeared without a word. I was left to pick up the pieces, raise Aaron, and face an unexpected pregnancy." I paused, letting the weight of my words sink in. Clara's eyes narrowed, but I pressed on. "I'm not the same person you abandoned. I fought hard to build a life for my children and me, and I won't let you come back to ruin that." Their faces showed shock, disbelief, and perhaps a hint of guilt. But it was too late for guilt. The wounds they caused were too deep. "Please leave," I said firmly. "You have no right to be here." Mark started to speak, likely with some excuse or plea, but I didn't want to hear it. I closed the door on them, on the past they represented. Turning back to my children, I saw Aaron looking at me with newfound respect, and Elise oblivious to the turmoil. I took a deep breath, steadying my racing heart. This was just the beginning. The battle lines were drawn, and I was prepared to fight for my family's future. The days that followed Mark and Clara's unwelcome visit were filled with a whirlwind of emotions and memories, threatening to overwhelm me like a tidal wave. I found myself going back to the difficult times after Mark disappeared, the nights when I couldn't sleep for worry, and the hours spent wondering what I could have done differently. Aaron struggled the most. Once a happy and outgoing kid, he became quiet and distant, his sparkle fading. I remembered how he'd push away his dinner, beg to skip school events, and give me cold looks instead of his usual warm smiles. It hurt to see him like that, but I didn't know how to help him. While I dwelled on those memories, Elise's innocent laughter filled the house, a sharp contrast to the turmoil inside me. She was my unexpected joy, a beacon of light during Mark's betrayal. Her birth gave me strength and vulnerability all at once. One night, as I tucked Aaron into bed, he looked at me seriously. "Mom, why did Dad leave us? Did we do something wrong?" His question felt like a punch to the gut. "No, honey, you did nothing wrong. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that don't make sense, and it's not because of you." "But why did he come back with Aunt Clara?" His confusion broke my heart. I sighed, trying to find the right words. "I don't know why they came back, but I do know that we're a family. You, me, and Elise. We'll face this together." He nodded slowly, his young face full of worries no child should have. "I trust you, Mom. I just wish things were like before." I kissed his forehead, whispering, "I know, my love, I wish that too." The next day, a call from my lawyer, Mr. Thompson, snapped me out of my thoughts. "Lauren, we need to talk about your legal options. Mark and Clara's accusation is unfounded, but we need to prepare a case." I listened intently, my thoughts racing. This was my chance to fight back, to ensure that Mark and Clara couldn't harm us anymore. "Let's go for it," I declared firmly. "I need to safeguard my children, and I won't allow them to be manipulated by whatever game Mark and Clara are playing." Mr. Thompson's voice was reassuring. "You're making the right choice. I'll start getting the paperwork ready. We'll show them that they can't just push you around." As I ended the call, a sense of determination settled over me. Mark and Clara had underestimated me, thinking I'd crumble under their pressure. But they were mistaken. I was stronger now, forged by the challenges I'd faced. I glanced at Elise playing nearby and knew I'd do whatever it took to protect them. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about justice for my children and myself. Mark and Clara had ignited a fierce protective instinct in me, and I was prepared to fight back with all my might. As weeks passed, my resolve solidified like steel. I braced myself for the legal battle ahead, but nothing could have prepared me for the emotional warfare to come. Mark and Clara, like vultures circling, began their campaign to wear me down. One afternoon, picking up Aaron from school, I found them waiting, casting a shadow over the sunny day. Clara's voice dripped with false sweetness as she greeted Aaron. "Hi, sweetie. We've missed you so much." Aaron clung to my hand, his body tense. "Why are you here?" he whispered. Mark stepped forward, feigning concern. "We just wanted to see you, son. We're family too, you know." Anger surged within me. "You forfeited the right to call yourselves family when you abandoned him," I snapped, pulling Aaron closer. Clara's facade cracked, her eyes narrowing. "Lauren, you can't keep him from us. We have rights." "Rights? You have no rights here," I shot back, my tone icy. "You made your choice 3 years ago. Now you have to live with it." Mark's face contorted with anger. "You think you're so perfect, Lauren. You're just a bitter woman who couldn't keep her husband happy." Aaron's grip on my hand tightened, his body trembling. "Let's go, Aaron," I said, leading him away, but Clara wasn't finished. "You'll regret this, Lauren. We'll get what we want, as we always do." Their threats lingered as we walked away, but I refused to show them any fear. I had to stay strong for Aaron and Elise. That night, their words echoed in my mind as I lay in bed. The thought of losing Aaron to them was unbearable. I couldn't let it happen. I had to be sharper, tougher. The next day, I met with Mr. Thompson, my resolve like armor. "I want full custody of Aaron, and I want Mark and Clara to have no visitation rights," I stated firmly. Mr. Thompson nodded. "It'll be a tough fight, but I'm confident we can win. You're a great mother, Lauren. The court will recognize that." As the legal preparations progressed, I found an unexpected ally at home, Aaron. One evening, he approached me, his young face serious. "Mom, I want to tell the judge I want to stay with you. Dad and Aunt Clara, they're not really my family." Tears filled my eyes as I hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Aaron. That means everything to me." The day of the court hearing arrived like a gathering storm. I walked into the courtroom with Aaron beside me, ready to defend our future. During the proceedings, Clara tried to play the loving aunt, but her words rang hollow. Mark acted like a remorseful father, yet his eyes betrayed his true intentions. When Aaron spoke, his voice steady and resolute, the truth shone through. "I want to stay with my mom. She's been there for me when no one else was." The judge's decision was like a ray of hope. Full custody granted to me with no visitation rights for Mark and Clara. Leaving the courtroom, Mark seethed with anger, and Clara's eyes glinted with malice. But their reactions didn't matter. Aaron and I had prevailed together. While the victory in court brought a brief sense of peace, it was short-lived. Mark and Clara, wounded and desperate, became more dangerous. They launched a smear campaign, spreading lies and rumors about me in our community. I never expected the psychological battle that ensued. One evening, Aaron returned from school, his eyes filled with tears he refused to shed. Mom, kids at school are saying you took me from Dad, that you're mean for keeping me away from him. His words shattered me. Aaron, you know that's not true. Everything I've done is to keep you and Elise safe. He nodded, but doubt lingered in his eyes. I know, Mom, but it's tough. They just don't understand. I held him close, feeling his trembling frame. I know it's hard, sweetheart, but we'll endure. We're stronger than their lies. As days passed, the rumors turned uglier. Clara, always sharp-tongued, now wielded her words like a weapon, seeking to dismantle my world. I knew I had to fight back, yet I hesitated to stoop to their level. Then one day, Mark appeared at my workplace, feigning remorse. Lauren, can't we talk, for Aaron's sake? His words dripped with venom, his facade transparent. There's nothing to discuss, Mark. You made your choice. Now you live with it. He gripped my arm tightly. You're destroying my life. Lauren, you and that kid. I pulled away, my voice steady. No, Mark, you did that to yourself. As I walked away, his parting threat sent a chill down my spine. This isn't over, Lauren. I won't give up so easily. The legal win secured custody of Aaron for me, but it didn't put an end to the conflict. Mark and Clara persisted, and I could see how it affected Aaron. He was caught in a battle he couldn't grasp, torn between his biological father and the mother who had never let him down. One evening, Aaron approached me, his face filled with uncertainty. Mom, what if Dad changes? What if he wants to be a real dad? His words struck a chord. Aaron, I understand he's your father, and it's natural to hope for that. But we must see people for who they are, not who we wish them to be. There was a moment of silence before Aaron looked up at me, his eyes clear. I understand. I just wish things were different. I embraced him, murmuring, I wish the same, Aaron. I truly do. Amidst the ongoing battle, my focus remained on Aaron and Elise. They were my pillars, the reason I fought relentlessly. And I'd do anything to shield them, to give them a life free from the shadows cast by Mark and Clara's deceit. Their relentless campaign turned darker, veering into harassment. They seemed omnipresent, at my workplace, near Aaron's school, always lingering, always observing. It became a psychological siege, its weight bearing down on me daily. Yet, I refused to be cowed. It was time to retaliate, to show them they couldn't disrupt our lives without repercussions. I arranged a meeting with Mr. Thompson, my determination unwavering. Mr. Thompson, it's time for more decisive legal action. I want to pursue a restraining order against Mark and Clara, and I want to sue them for harassment and defamation, I asserted. Mr. Thompson agreed wholeheartedly. I believe that's a prudent step, Lauren. Their behavior is intolerable, and they must face the legal consequences. The legal battles were arduous, but I remained steadfast. In court, Mark portrayed himself as the victim, a man unfairly treated by his vengeful ex-wife. Clara, ever the performer, shed tears over being deprived of a role in her nephew's life. However, their theatrics couldn't obscure the truth. The judge saw through their charade and granted the restraining order. Furthermore, they were instructed to compensate for the harm caused by their defamatory actions. Leaving the courtroom, Mark seethed with anger, while Clara's eyes smoldered with unspoken threats. Yet, this time, I refused to be intimidated. The law was on my side. Their defeat in court failed to extinguish their vendetta. If anything, it seemed to stoke their malice further. One day, I received a chilling call from Mark. You think you've won, Lauren? You think you can ruin my life and walk away? I'll ensure you regret this, he spat over the phone. I gritted my teeth, suppressing the fear his words ignited. You brought this upon yourself, Mark. I'm merely safeguarding my family. You haven't seen the end of me, Lauren. This isn't finished, he snarled before disconnecting. His threat lingered in the air like poison, but I refused to let it weaken me. Aaron and Elise were my top priority. They were my world, and I'd do whatever it took to shield them from Mark and Clara's cruelty. However, as days turned into weeks, the constant strain started to wear me down. The perpetual watchfulness, the dread of what Mark might do next, the weight of single motherhood, it consumed me entirely. One evening, As I tucked Elise into bed, Aaron approached me, his expression serious. Mom, are we going to be okay? Dad sounded really angry on the phone. I enveloped him in a hug, my heart breaking for the burden he carried. We'll be okay, Aaron. I won't let anything happen to us, I promise. Yet, even as I uttered those words, I knew the battle was far from over. Mark and Clara loomed like a looming storm, and I had to be prepared for whatever they threw our way. The weeks post-court ruling were fraught with tension and vigilance. Mark and Clara, constrained by the restraining order, retreated into the shadows, their silence more unsettling than their threats. I sensed this lull was just the calm before another storm. Then it struck. Clara, in a desperate move, staged a public spectacle. While I was grocery shopping, she emerged out of nowhere, hurling accusations. You're a monster, Lauren. You've torn our family apart. Clara's cries drew the attention of bystanders. I stood firm, my voice unwavering. Clara, you need to leave. You're violating the restraining order. Enraged, she spat back. I don't care. The world needs to see your true colors. But her theatrics backfired. The store manager, recognizing the disruption, called the police. As they escorted a hysterical Clara away, her facade of the wronged aunt crumbled. This public meltdown proved to be the tipping point. The police charged Clara with violating the restraining order and causing a public disturbance. Mark, too, faced repercussions. His involvement in the harassment and defamation, now laid bare, led to his arrest. As I witnessed their apprehension, a twinge of pity stirred within me. They had plummeted into their own abyss, a pit of lies and animosity they had dug themselves. Yet this feeling was swiftly eclipsed by a sense of justice. They were finally being held accountable for their actions. In the aftermath, the community's perception shifted. The truth about Mark and Clara's deceit and manipulation came to light. Those who had once whispered behind my back now extended their apologies and support. Aaron, witnessing his father and aunt's downfall, grappled with conflicting emotions. Mom, is it wrong to feel relieved about Dad and Aunt Clara getting arrested? I squeezed his hand, empathizing with his inner turmoil. It's okay to feel relieved, Aaron. They caused us a lot of pain. It's natural to seek justice. The battle that had consumed us for months appeared to be at an end. Mark and Clara, once formidable adversaries, were now diminished. Their ability to harm us had been stripped away. As I tucked Aaron and Elise into bed that night, a sense of tranquility settled over me. We had weathered the storm and emerged triumphant. Our future lay before us, bright and full of promise. Though life had thrust us into turbulent waters, we had learned to navigate the tempest. Now it was time to relish the calm, to embrace the fresh beginning that awaited us.